Hi everyone, it's your boy Dutchy, and it has been a long time. I've been busy with other things, and of course, PlanetCoaster 2 got released in November. I've been complaining about the state of the game in the ensuing months, but to be honest and to be fair, the last couple of months it has been an absolute joy. And as such, I am very pleased to now be releasing my first video. My first true park video featuring Starland. Starland is sort of a generic, in the middle of nowhere, could be between a couple of continents type of place. You'll see a bit of typical American generic theme parks, but then at the same time, there's some clearly heavily European influencing going on. So God knows where it is. Let's just pretend it's in the middle of the ocean on the Azores Islands without having to commit to Portuguese as the leading language, if that makes any sense. Now, where do I start? I suppose I should just give you a little tour, starting with the entrance plaza, the mascotti, then the train station, and maybe a couple of the rides that are already in place. So let me just turn off the UI, and why don't I sort of hover over the entrance plaza. So what I think is going to be the case is that all of the hinterland here is going to be a parking lot. It's going to be a big parking lot. And yeah, then we get to this plaza. Sort of hopefully free of traffic, a couple of bollards there to protect the visitors, and it leads you to Starland, which looks like it was built somewhere, I would say late 80s, early 90s, given that it's a bit of a tacky looking thing. Yeah, I think that will work. So let's just set it at the 80s, early 90s, somewhere there. I'm not going to be too picky about it. You know, there's people out there, especially on Bro Nation, who will then lecture you saying, well, you cannot have this coaster because it wasn't released until 1993. I mean, bitch, this is all a fantasy. I'm only got 2 to 3 hours a week that I can commit to this. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of irregular updates. You may not hear from me for weeks, and other weeks I may post 3 updates in a row. So I will not be too picky when it comes to timing or chronology or anything. We're just going to pretend it's 1989, 1990, and that's where we are. So these are the 5 ticket booths. It would be so lovely if we could actually have ticket booths. For now, we have to deal with the information booths. And then at some point, I actually still need to add turnstiles here. Going over, or I should rather say under, we get to the, I don't know, entrance boulevard, call it whatever you want. And we get to the mascotti. Now, this is something that I entirely stole from my dear friend Mineral. You may have heard of him. And he has a frog. And I thought, well, Starland, what am I going to do? And, you know, first I thought maybe a talking star, and then I realized how limited that would be. And so I thought, okay, Starland, night, starry, nocturnal. I thought, oh, wait a second. What lives and sort of, you know, manifests at night? An owl. So in case you haven't recognized it, this is an owl. His name is Twinkle. And Twinkle is the mascotti of Starland. And I think this is a lovely addition. I made it all out of art shapes. I know, it's somehow the stuff of nightmares. But you'll see it in different settings later on already in the park. And he can be extremely cute. So this is, this is Twinkle. He wears a cape, a starry cape. And he wants to be an astronaut. I think that is going to be the theme. And yeah, there he is. This was drawn by SPR or SP Ridley. So many thanks to Ridley. I know that at some point, if time allows him, he actually wants to do maybe a couple of different renderings for me. But I was already really happy. He made this on the fly when we were discussing the character. I wanted some feedback as I was building it out of art shapes. given that he's a very talented drawer himself. And yeah, then this is what came out of it. And I'm really chuffed, as Minero would say. So chuffed I am, chuffed I continue onwards to the main station, flanked so beautifully by minerals and mocha. Every single one of my restaurants and shops gets named after one of my friends at the Discord called Bro Nation, which I reckon many of my viewers are coming from. So there's this extremely generic, lovely building on the left with a rotating coffee cup on the roof with steam and everything. Lovely. And then on the right, there is Ridley's, again, SB Ridley's Gelato, which of course is a little nudge or a wink, if you want, to my personal heritage, a lovely Dutch-looking building. So these two flank the fireworks plaza, really. I mean, in the end, this is where I hope for people to gather at the end of the day. The fireworks would then be lit probably somewhere between the three drop towers and the Starland Express main station. So you can just picture how glorious that's going to be. Nothing in this park will be anything short of glorious. And then there is a really ugly, I'm actually ashamed to show this to you. There's a building here that needs to be raised to the ground. I don't know what I was thinking. The worst part is, not only did I start it, I actually finished it. It's so ugly. It's like someone, you know, I mean, I don't mean this in a shady way, but this looks like someone who just got started in PlanetCoaster 2 months ago. Not someone who's been playing the game and then Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, 2, and 1 for the past 20 years. But let's just call this a placeholder. So to the right, obviously, there's absolutely nothing because I'll be building the park somewhat circular. And rather than building, you know, bits and pieces and nooks and crannies and everything in all wind directions, I just start to the left and go clockwise and hopefully at some point end up back here. Yeah. Why don't I change the lighting to something friendlier? Yeah, there we are. So here there is a wonderful little sort of old, I don't know, sort of a factory, warehouse, whatever you want to call it. You know, especially back in December when I started this project, we only had so many items to work with. Dutchy Motors, established 1887, a good 100 years before I was born. And Dutchy Motors, yeah, well, there's not much to say, is there? It's just a lovely old car, right? What do you call them? Old-timers. And I think the parkour is rather spectacular, the circuit, if you want. I think, in fact, this is the longest vintage car track parkour that I've ever seen. So yeah, quite impressive, if I may toot my own horn. I very much like how it turned out. And then you're sort of led around, I don't know, sort of a scrapyard thingy here. You know, you go in. These are going to be information displays. I just need to work on, you know, displaying something in there. I would say maybe the history of Dutchy Motors. And you go all around it, right? We'll get to that in a moment. You go all around it. Again, sort of the warehousing, scrapyard, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what she's still doing here. And yeah, then it's your turn and you get on these old timers that are completely dressed up. So mine have a roof. It's not the best looking roof because, well, we didn't have much to work with back then, and even now, do we? So yeah, wooden slats it is, with a little bit of a baggage thingy on the back. I think it gives it a lot of personality. It's got a D87 number plate, and then it's got that sort of a, you know, wannabe Mercedes thing at the hood. That's just the letter D. So I quite like it. You know, given the limitations within this game, I am rather pleased. Now, one of the nice things is, you know, to keep it, of course, European. Yeah, here we are, driving down the A9. Little planters in the middle. This was a bit of a hit. on Bro Nation, because at first I was thinking of making planters, sunk planters out of paths. That only turned out so well. Taggy 3D, sorry. He'll be doing some work on it, but anyway, moving on underneath the bridge, the archers, and then there is yet again a little sort of a, well, it's not a meet and greet, but you get to see the character Twinkle sleeping in his tent. And as you go on, you cross the bridge, you go down, boom, 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 and there he is. So Twinkle shows himself rising from the archaeological depths. Let me just speed it up a bit. There he is, showing his, his treasures. So in this scenario, he's an archaeologist, and you spot him earlier in the ride having a nap, and then later you actually see him coming out of an excavation site. And I'm so pleased to have a character because, as I said to Mineral the other day, it just makes the park so much more personal. Having a mascot, having a personality. I hope that one day soon we actually get to design our own characters, the entertainers. Or in the very least we get a blank canvas and we can just add scenery just like we can with rides now. That would be absolutely fantastic. Here is what I imagine is sort of a repair shed. I kept the details simple, but seems to work. Moving on this monstrosity, there's to the left, completely random, there is a Bavarian beer garden, which is a bit of a nudge to a wink to my time in Munich. I've lived for 3 years. Just sort of celebrating everything that's Bavarian here, starting of course with the blue-white checker flag of Bavaria. And then we've got Nitro Slice after Nitro, Barbara's Viz after Miss Barbara on Bro Nation. Let me see if I can get some better light in here. I should be able to. Yeah, I guess this will do. Return dishes, which I really had a good time creating. So, this kind of conveyor belt thing that you might see at some restaurants. If I were so inclined, I could actually make this move. Here's the thing. I'm only going to show this once, and after that, probably never look at it again. So, you have to save your energy. Lasses and lads, I think that speaks for itself. Then there's Maki Mattia, which is named after Bro Nation Corifei Mattia Kessman. Sushi place. And I thought we had another one here. Yeah, there we go. Jash Juice and Joran's Garden. So nice to sort of give a shout out there to some really lovely people on Bro Nation who I interact with so many times a week. Then here is the slide. I decided not to dress it up any further. I may or may not put a flag on top, but we'll see. The beer garden building is kept simple on purpose. It's just supposed to be old. The roof has a tiny bit of decoration going on, but nothing to write home about. It's the same for the secondary building. It'll be nice to actually see people sit down here, and let's just hope that that has improved in PlanetCoaster 2. Unlike in PlanetCoaster 1, where you would have 8 tables and then one person would sit down for the briefest of time. Across the beer garden, there is Frego and Sons, again named after Frego, a lovely British Bro Nation member. And then it takes us all the way here, which is in the future is going to be, I guess, parking lot and sort of service buildings behind here. For now, this is a trench where I thought, is this a pretzel shape? I always get it mixed up. Not sure what the name is, but anyway, the coaster goes through here. It's a lovely view to see. And then you go back, a little bit of forested area here, and you get to this part, which is a humongous, yet another sort of, I don't know, eat and get wasted and rest your bones type of place. I think I have far too many of those big terraces right in the beginning of the park, but then again, that's kind of where people congregate. And I just simply use the in-game trucks. You have to scale them up a bit so that the vendor counters actually fit in comfortably. But I just really like how they look, and why reinvent the wheel? They look fine here. It's very simple. Put up a string light, call it a day, and that's it. Now, before I show you the gift shop and the teacups, let me just give you one last look, or one first look, I should say, at Twinkle's Flying School. And there he is, once again, the mascotte brought to life. This time as a chirpy, no pun intended, pilot. Very chuffed how this turned out. The goggles, he's adorable, isn't he? Little wings up, stars in his eyes. I think he's super cute. So this is Twinkle's Flying School, aka Fly Like a Bird. Really got a lot of mileage out of those falcon wings in the game that I could put to use here. So very happy how this turned out. There's a lovely yellow themed path going around it. Yeah, I think this is a very solid looking ride, and it is a cool ride because, of course, it sits right between where the coaster would be, sort of zooming by. So I think this is actually a real thrilling ride. And yeah, I'm happy how it turned out. And when you're queuing, there's also a bit of kinetics there with the train passing by. Oh, I think we get a demonstration now. There we are. Yeah. That looks cool, doesn't it? So I'm very happy how this turned out. Twinkle, he'll be featured in many different rides. Whenever I can sort of put him in a ride or a shop or whatever, I'll have him there. This is a work in progress. It's going to be a very Dutch themed ride. So I'm thinking maybe of putting up simple sort of 2D facades of typical Amsterdam buildings. I think you all know what I'm talking about. So maybe make half a circle of Amsterdam buildings, flat facades, and then the rest just maybe sort of a flower display. And I really liked how this turned out. These are obviously orange tulips. What else? In a Delft blue vase and Delft blue coffee cups, and some of the petals lying around on the plate. Yeah, why not, right? And last but not least, and I should change the light again, because it's actually really pretty. Oh, too much. There we are. Because I actually use colored glass, which for some reason you only get to see in certain light. Again, Twinkle making an appearance here and the rotating back, which he's just so adorable. Yeah, there is this Starland gift shop. I don't know what I was thinking when I made this design. I just wanted something different. Something Bauhaus, something that could have been around for a while, repurposed. Again, there's no strategy here. This is more an amusement park than an actual theme park. So, yeah, take everything with a grain of salt. But I liked how it turned out, funny enough. It looks great at night with the rainbow neon. This is where you go in. We'll just pretend that these are the sort of, the folding glass doors, right? And yeah, you go in right here. Frontier, they did such an amazing job with the gift shop. Modulity, what do you call it? The functionality. Really fantastic. It just looks amazing. It's so effortless. The variety, the fact that you can still change things. God, it's just wonderful. I mean, this took me only a night to build this, and that may sound like a long time, but I mean, the veterans in the old PlanetCoaster and especially Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 days. God, this kind of stuff, they would normally take you a week back in the day. And now we just have all of this at our disposal. I could have put in more effort by building custom cabinets, but for this one, I was just happy to go with the in-game generic stuff. It looks amazing. I mean, yeah, this, geez, every time I look at it, I'm just amazed. There was almost no effort required here. I just love it. I love it. I never thought I would love it. That's why I'm so astonished. I always thought I couldn't care less, but now that I have it, it's fantastic, isn't it? Yeah. So chuffed how this turned out. And there's a little table with the scaling mod. I managed to turn the locomotive into a, sort of a, what do you call it? A toy model. So this is, I assume, where you would park your kids and, they can play around or something. I don't know. It's just adorable. I'm so happy how this turned out. This was so easy. Yeah, good one. And I think that already sort of concludes this update. If you've been bearing now for the last 20 minutes, you'll be glad it's done. Maybe I just leave you at noon in game time with a bit of an overview. So, yeah, this is where the park is right now. I think it turned out well. This is my reshade setting, by the way. So this is normal. This neon nuclear radioactive wasteland green is the normal in-game. And let me just activate my reshade preset called Much Dutch Subtle. There we go. A little less green, a little more yellows there, a little more sort of summer is almost over kind of vibe, and it just makes it, I don't know, just makes it real. I really like how that turned out. So yeah, this is what my park looks like to date. I am rather pleased with it so far. I'm very curious where I'll take it next. Again, I'm going to build circular, sort of, right? I already laid out the entire railway, although that's more of a placeholder than a definitive layout. Next project will be the teacups, and then this sort of, I don't know, Colombian jungle, Pablo Escobar meets, I don't know, meets a nice little boat ride, I guess. Yeah, sort of going for something cool here, hopefully. I find it extremely hard to create a dense-looking area, densely foliaged area in PlanetCoaster without it looking fake from above. So we'll see how that turns out. So far, with the beautiful foliage that we've been given in this game, I think I've managed to make it look rather okay. Let me zoom in. I can live with this. So we'll see how this turns out, because of course this is going to be more jungle, so a bit more palm trees and everything. It's a cool layout. It should be a simple ride, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I might even end up plopping a ride here now that I think about it. How cool will that be? We'll see. Thank you so very much for watching, for bearing with me this episode. Maybe if time allows, at some point I'll get back to making those little cinematic videos, but for now, you just have to wait. Thank you so much, and see you soon. Bye!